would Mattress Mac build a high school instead of one of his fabulously successful stores? Jill Wright is going to tell us about that. I met Jill when her mother, Cindy, and Doyle were helping get ready for the fiber presentation with Linda Thompson. And she told me about this wonderful endeavor. Jill has been an educator for over 4 decades. She was the principal of the Spring ISD, and she was instrumental in founding the first award-winning charter school. So she has a great deal of experience in education. And now she has turned her attention to a very special group of students. And Jill is going to tell us about that. We are so happy to welcome Jill. Thank you.
I'm waiting for it to turn green. Is it? Oh, there we go. And, okay, yay. Yay. And I have to stay within this zone, so I got to make sure. Thank you. Gosh, there's so many familiar faces out there. And for those of you who have heard me speak before, I apologize for putting you to sleep now. But thank you for sitting through this again. I am very proud of what I do and who I work with. And so thank you for coming to listen to me rattle on about it. The best person, though, to explain why we exist would be Mattress Mac and Mike Feinberg. This is kind of a 3-way partnership. Back when we opened during the year of COVID, they created this film called College is Not for All. And Mac had realized he needed he gets about 20 people a day that come in and ask for something, some kind of handout. And he really wants to end that cycle of poverty. So this is one of his responses to it, but I'll let him explain that in this video. But this was shot right when we opened during COVID.
My previous school, I felt like the environment just wasn't for me anymore. There was just like a lot of racial problems that were being brushed over. And even though it was rigorous, I think I just needed a little push to figure out what I wanted to do. I plan after I graduate to possibly become an electrician. There's a lot of things that you can do with your hands, so that's really good for me, I think. College isn't for everybody, I'm just gonna be real right now. That's a choice, you can do that, but it's not like the only choice you have. So like when you're in a trade, you're learning how to do something, you're learning an essential skill that you're gonna benefit from for life.
A student of mine at a previous alternative high school, he had been in trouble, he wanted to get a diploma, he wanted to change his life, and he worked really hard to get it. But a couple of weeks later, I saw him at a grocery store pushing carts, and I realized we didn't do anything for this child. We didn't give him the skill that he needed. And that's when I became passionate that we have to not only provide a diploma, but we also have to give kids skills that employers would want.
About 5 years ago, I was involved in KIPP Houston, which of all the KIPP regions around the country was the first KIPP region to get to 50% of the kids not just going to college, but graduating from college. I remember celebrating that stat for about 15 seconds, then thinking, shoot, that's half, what about the other half? And I started realizing was a more nuanced, mature way to think about this is that college prep is a very good thing. We don't need to debate whether or not college prep should be in our schools. But that college prep does not need to mean college for all. While all that was happening, Mattress Mac at Gallery Furniture called me to talk about the fact that in the age of Amazon, he thought he had too much retail space and wanted to repurpose space for the greater good. Mattress Mac was KIPP's very first funder when we were just a program 26 years ago on the north side of Houston. And so when he realized he had all this extra retail space, kind of like, let's start some schools to work on the other 50%. And that's kind of what gave birth to Work Texas at Gallery Furniture.
The average income in a 10-mile area of gallery furniture where we're at right now is $26,000, way below the poverty line. My goal is to change lives for generations to come and to change so many people from being victims to being victors, because we all deserve to be victors in the game of life.
When I first learned about Mattress Mac opening up a trade school, I was already retired from teaching after 42 years in public school, and I knew it was going to be a perfect fit. One of the things that I've noticed about the students that are attending school here is that their outlook has changed. And I think maybe they recognize what is available, what they have to offer. Maybe that maturity level is setting in over the period of the summer or a year or two, but they value what's available to them here.
I'm taking a trade class to become an electrician, so I plan after I graduate to possibly get hired by Trio, which is the company that sponsors kids to be able to learn how to become an electrician.
Over the years of my teaching, the trades classes were considered like a dirty hands class. Here at Texas Premier High School, we're trying to eliminate that stigma with the trades.
What I want to offer to the kids is not only that diploma, but then something to do, some skill that they have when they get out so that they can be productive.
We've paved that road. It's up for them to take that road and keep heading off into that horizon where there definitely will be success.
My long-term vision for Work Texas is to get thousands of people off welfare and get them into the workforce. So it's about hard skills like plumbing and electrical, construction skills, also about soft skills like empathy, financial management, how to deal with conflicts. So we're believers in human beings. That's what we do. We believe that with a little help and a little encouragement, human beings can accomplish incredible things.
I did not realize I have similar taste in clothes from 6 years ago. It's like, whew. So, Premier High School, this is our mission, and it's a lot of verbiage, but really the main, most important word here is hope. We are here to provide hope for our students. A lot of our kids are dropouts from high school. They come to us looking for a second chance, whether it is because they did not like the environment at their previous high school, or because they got pregnant at their sophomore year in high school, or just they needed a second chance and they needed somebody to believe in them. And so they find us, and then hopefully we give them that hope. We also, though, this 2 years ago, created Texas Works. We didn't create it. I'm sorry. I was told we were going to have 2 schools. But I was told this on August 27th, 2 years ago, and they said, Jill, don't worry about it. You've got plenty of time to think about it. It's going to be a very similar program. It's going to serve up to age 50 years old, and you've got till September 3rd. Okay. So we have Premier High School, and we have Texas Works. The district's mission is providing hope. My mission, my goal is every time a student walks that stage, we are handing them a diploma, we're giving them a job certification, and we're giving them a job. Now, we're not quite there on the job part. We're still working on that, but it is in the forefront of our minds. One of our challenges really, though, is that people want to hire welders, they want electricians, they want people with certified medical assistants, but they want them with experience. So that's one of our challenges, is providing that experience for the kids, finding opportunities for them to have internships. So with the diploma, this is last year's graduates. This was our largest graduation class that we've had. I learned something. I think this is interesting. This girl right over here it looks like she doesn't know how to put on her stole. In fact, we were telling a couple of kids as they were coming up to the stage, you gotta put it. over your neck. And they just kind of looked at us like, well, I found out that that means someone in her family helped get her across the stage. And so she waited until then she was across the stage, and then she put the other half of the stool on. I thought that was pretty powerful. And so I get emotional over our kids. So our framework, we're built around three significant issues and promises. We have the school, we have support, and then we have work. The school is a mastery learning program that students cannot sit in the back of their classroom and just be passed along. They have to do the work, and they have to demonstrate mastery in order to make progress. They can go as quickly as they want. They think they can go as slow as they want. Some of them are pretty successful at that. We did have a student this past year. He was a freshman for 3 years with us. He enjoyed being with us. But sometime around October of last year, he was like, I don't like this so much. And he went from having 7 credits to having 22 credits for graduation and walked the stage. But I tell the kids all the time, Premier, we're here till you're 26. So relax, have a good time. But Texas Works, we're here till you're 50. So they don't like that. So Premier is ages 14 to 26, and then Texas Works is ages 18 to 50. There is an overlap of age, and we tell those who want to come to school every single day that they should be in Premier. And I really encourage students to be at Premier because they are required to come every day. Texas Works, they don't have to be there every day, and we lose them when they're not. And so I really push the Premier model on them. And it is very individualized. Everyone comes in, they get a personal graduation plan, and then we begin our work. This past year, 91% of our students were considered to be were on free and reduced lunch. 98% of them are considered to be at risk. You would think, having trades, that we would be a little bit heavy on the male side with the trades that we have, but last year we were almost split half and half. Our population is pretty much 97-98% Hispanic. The ages tend to be more than 70% of our kids are ages 18 on up. So the work part of it is really where most people want to have more information. So we offer this past year electrical patient care technician and welding certifications. The electrical program had some challenges this past year because we had an instructor that was new in the fall and realized pretty quickly that instructors don't get paid a lot of money. And so come December, he took a job elsewhere, and then the kids had to face a new instructor. And please know that our kids, that's one of the reasons why they're dropouts, is because they need consistency in their lives. They need to know somebody is there for them and that somebody's going to stay there for them. So that was particularly hard because some of them had already started to make bond with that instructor, and then he was like, see ya. So we got a new instructor in the spring. All of our students earned their Home Builders Institute core certification. And this is some of the kids as they're learning how they do residential wiring, and then their second year they learn commercial wiring. I'd like to give a big shout out to Rock Rooster Boots for providing our students with a set of boots. So our nursing program, you are welcome anytime to come see the school, anytime. I do not recommend that you come between November and February, because that's when our phlebotomy kids are testing. It doesn't, yeah, they're looking for any kind of stick they can get. This past year, they were able to earn 3 certifications within 1 year. They earned their certified medical assistant. They also earned a phlebotomy cert, and then they earned medical billing and coding. They put on a blood drive this past year. And I believe I told an earlier group, we told them when they came, this is so many of them first time to ever give blood. And we told them ahead of time, you need to eat. And they were like, yeah, okay, we'll eat. There was so much vomiting and passing out after on this day. We had tally marks going in the office. But this year when we do the blood drive, I bet they're going to be eating. This is the top group is our phlebotomy students in December when they got their certification, and then this is our certified medical assistant group when they received theirs this spring. This student right here, I'd like to point him out because he has earned welding certifications. He spent 2 years doing our welding program, and then he did an electrical program, and he got a cert, and now he had 1 more year with us, which he really shouldn't have. He really should have graduated the year before. But I think he stuck around so that he could get a few more certs in his belt. But then he got the certified medical assistant. And then this is, I love Kenevian. Kenevian is in her 40s and is a mother of 3, and she got her certified medical assistant cert as well. And then our welding program, particularly excited about our welding this year. We had 21 students that were enrolled, and that may not sound like many, but we averaged about 100 in our enrollment overall. It fluctuated. We go up to 130 and then down to 80. But so to have 21 of our students enrolled in welding, we were very pleased. 7 of those students they went to the Houston City College, and their welding courses were through them, and they got a level C1 certificate, which means they got to go to the graduation ceremony and participate in HCC's graduation ceremony, and none of them have graduated from high school yet. So they better this year. 4 of our students were not able to participate in that graduation ceremony because they were participating in the state competition up in Abilene. This is just a few of our proud moments of competition. We do not teach underwater welding, but at one of the competitions they were able to try underwater welding. And one of our students who had never done it before ended up winning first place in underwater welding. And he actually did that twice. He had a second competition this year. He got another one. Yeah. At this particular welding competition, we had a first place, a second place, a third place, and another second place. So 1, 2, 2, and 3. They were so proud. So not only did they get trophies, but they also got a bunch of swag. There were coolers filled with shirts and things, and they just stood in front of that was a gold mine. I do laugh. I do like to tell the story. This poor boy was showing, over here he was showing his trophy to another girl who dropped it. And it broke. And they were like, oh, we'll just weld it together. I'm like, it's marble. But they did. They got together. Little Gorilla Glue, and life was wonderful. These are our HCC graduates. This one always looks a little rough around. He knows I talk about him. He looks a little rough around the edges. He was pretty heavily into drugs when he was in high school. He is now 2 years sober and loves to, he's still sneaky, but he loves to lecture the other kids and kind of be on them about staying clean. This year, brand new, is our right down the street, 2 exits down, is the Lenote. Thank you. Culinary Arts Institute, and they are wanting to partner. They will offer our students a $27,000 culinary program for free. Yeah. They just have to commit to going Monday to Thursday from 12:30 to 5. But they can get associates in either become a licensed chef in baking and pastry, or they can choose just the culinary arts. We're very excited. So school, and then work, and then support. The support is probably the most important part of our roles as teachers, as an administrator. Those barriers, those things that have gotten in the kids' way before that had them drop out, well, now we've got to work. Those barriers are not gone. A lot of them bring those barriers with them, and we do what we can to try and remove those barriers, or at least make that hump a little bit less hard to get over. This year, looking kind of more on the bad side of things, 12, I think last time I did this, it was at 11. 12 is the number of students that got kicked out of their house this year, or apartment. Some of our parents, especially last November when SNAP benefits were kind of a big question mark, our parents' solution to that was, well, I don't need this many mouths to feed, you get out. So we had a lot that were just, you need to go find a job, you need to go feed yourself. We had a couple of students get in fights with their stepfathers. And whether the stepfather or the student made the decision to leave, regardless, there's nothing like being in my office and having somebody come in and sit down and go, I'm not sure where I'm going to sleep tonight. Quite a few were evicted this year. The whole family. And many, when they turn 18, that's it. That's time. I raised you for 17 and a half years. You are now 18 years old. It is time for you to get out, make some money. You can live here if you bring in rent. I don't care about school. School's not important. We need you to go and earn some money. And then we did have a student that was killed this year, just 2 streets behind Gallery Furniture. He was walking, and a car cut him off, and he kind of yelled at the driver, and the driver got out and shot him. And I bring it up just because our other students were just they shrug at it and go, well, that's the way it is. And the microcosm, the neighborhood that they are in, they don't know any better. And so, with this culinary arts, what I'm finding I have to go out and do is I've got to show them cleaned up versions of Gordon Ramsay, which is kind of a challenge to find. But to show them to be a chef can be pretty glamorous because they don't go to 2-star restaurants. Chick-fil-A is what they know of when they think about working in the food industry. And so teaching them what is a chef is, and they also don't really know what it means to get a better life because they don't ever see it, and they don't watch TV, and they don't see sitcoms, and they don't, it's all streaming and it's TikTok, and so they don't, and they see what they want to see on those platforms, so they don't really know what the benefit. When you say, okay, get an education and your life is going to be better, what does that mean? see it. They don't really have much to aspire to. They're very self-contained. And this is not a political statement at all. It is a fact that ICE was a factor in our students' lives this year, and whether or not they attended school or whether or not their parents allowed them to attend school, it became a significant issue for us. Some of those barriers to get over. However, looking up, we had more students this year ask about the 26 graduation plan and about four-year colleges than we've ever had. Up until this past year, a community college was about the highest achieving, the plateau that they felt that they could reach. Now we're talking, we went to Texas A&M to see what a campus looked like, because it's the only campus in the state of Texas, but, and got a lot of them interested. And so that was nice just to be able to, I've never gone onto a website to say, okay, here you can search for colleges. You want an urban college? Do you want a large college? You want, and kind of pull that up, and it was great, very refreshing to have those conversations. As I mentioned, it's our largest graduating class so far. This year we have over 200 applications for Texas Works. Last year we averaged about 26 we had 26 students. Now we have over 200. And I call it the AI effect, because I had a woman sitting, she was 40 years old. She'd been working for about 18 years, doing the same job, loved it, but got laid off, an expert in what she was doing, but could not get another job because AI, whenever she submitted a resume to a company, AI would kick it out because she didn't have a high school diploma. So she wasn't able to ever get her foot in the door to tell somebody what all of the skills that she had and what she could do for them and how she could benefit their company. AI kicked him out because she didn't have that diploma. And so we're seeing a lot of that now. And of course, our STAR test scores. I hate STAR testing, but woo, we did really well this year. So I'm excited. I'm not going to hang my head in August when the school report cards come out. We will be an A school. Yeah. So I'm pretty thrilled. And honestly, that allows me to do my job more. I don't have people looking at me saying, "Oh, prove yourself, prove yourself." So this allows me to focus more on the kids and the programs and the things that we're doing. And I have an amazing staff, an absolutely amazing staff. So lots of things that we're looking up for. And then what we look forward to, we have a new partnership with Lamar State College. So in addition to Houston City College, which used to be Houston Community College, we now are partnering with Lamar, and they are going to offer our electrical program and our medical program, so our kids earn dual credit in college courses as well as their electrical certification. Lamar State University, is that what you're talking about? Yes, I'm sorry, yes, Lamar State, yeah. So our kids will get dual credit. Now a lot of them don't think that they care about dual credit. It's something that we've got to teach them why it's such a benefit. As I mentioned, our culinary arts partnership, we are really upping our standards, our expectations of the kids. So I'm really looking forward to that. And then this is other duties as assigned. I mentioned our support. This is when you have a kid who has to come up and get prepared for the STAR test, and nobody is there. She doesn't have family to watch the baby. Guess who gets to watch the baby? But fortunately, the lights and gallery furniture had that kid transfixed. So that was so easy. And then we do take time to relax. This was during a welding competition, and the kids were pulling out the Uno cards, which really made me thrilled. And instead of pulling out their phones, they were pulling out Uno. And then we had our Halloween. And I'm the one in the middle. I was Wednesday. I love being Wednesday because Wednesday never smiles. And I got to go around all day long. So much fun. We had our first day of school competition last year. The kids they looked at this cake, and I got to put out a shout out to La Swan Bakery for fixing this for us. And one student from each team would go look at the cake and then come back and try and explain it to their team members who had to duplicate it. I did buy 300 cakes from Walmart, which our purchasing department went. So these guys, I don't know if you can see, but no, they didn't come anywhere close. I won't even. But this group of girls, they got the wrench, they got the books. That's the graduate. They got pretty close. And then we always have it's time to get serious. And that's when it's time to graduate. And we got this light, the I did this neon light, and it is now a big deal to stand and they turn on that light. It becomes quite symbolic that they are going to graduate. That was one of our teachers. Yeah. And then this one, this is also where I get very emotional. They take their picture and then they go into the classroom and they tell everybody goodbye because that's their last day. They don't wait until May. So, and we make a big deal and they go in and everybody applauds for them, but also they also have to tell them goodbye. Everybody's waving at her. We're all waving in the background. But so thank you for the opportunity to share. I did not mention, and I do kind of feel the need to. Mattress Mac is a very generous man, and he gave us the floor space to have this school, but it is not his school. We are run by Responsive Education. We're a public school in the state of Texas. Mac, just to say, he gave us space. He allows us to be there, and it is wonderful. But he does not fund it. He will, if I have a student that I'm ready to fall on a sword for, that I believe in. I had one of my students who came in this last year and said he had nowhere to go that night. Mac was willing to employ him, and he had a room in the back of his store that he let the boys stay in.
Wow.
You guys have any questions?
Yeah.
What is your area?
Where
Where did the students come? Where did
do the students come
the
from?
students come from?
Yeah.
A majority of them come from the 3 zip codes surrounding Gallery Furniture. However, we have students that are coming from Cy-Fair, students that are coming from south of 610. We have some that are on the other side of Hardy Toll Road. It just kind of depends on who they're hearing it from. There are other premier high schools in Houston. There's one in Hobby. There's one in the Champions area. There's one in Sharpstown. We're the only ones, though, that focus on the trades the way that we do. Yes, sir.
Is there any chance that the video you showed is available online?
It is. It's on YouTube. Yes, it's. I can give you the exact name of it or the URL, but it is. If you search "College is Not for All," and it was filmed in 2020. That was a lot of fun. Opening a school when nobody knew what Zoom was. Come on down. Yeah.
I'll include that in the newsletter with the link to the YouTube video of this.
Margaret. Yeah.
You talked a lot about.
That doesn't work. No, this does. It's recording the video.
You haven't talked about the schoolwork, the classes that are taking, English, math. What are they? You haven't talked about that. What's going on with that?
Oh, there exist. Yeah, no. The kids have to follow. They have to when they graduate. They graduate with the state accredited graduation program. So they have to take the 4 Englishes, they have to take algebra, geometry, algebra 2, math models. Some will take pre-calcs, not as rigorous. Our kids are not taking AP courses, but they all work independently. So if you go into a classroom, you would see 34 desks all filled up, but it's not going to be like one of the other high schools where there are 34 students in a room and it's a bit chaotic. You go in and it is quiet because you have this person who's doing US history sitting next to somebody who's working on biology, sitting next to somebody who's doing English 2, sitting in front of somebody who's doing English 1. The teacher's responsibility is not to get up and do what I do. The teacher's responsibility is to go and say, yeah, you've been on that environmental systems book a little too, this has been a full week now. What is keeping you from getting through it? Let's sit down and let's talk and see if we can work our way through it. So the teachers do a lot of one-on-one and do a lot of small group instruction. But they have to master, and that's the key. So many of them think that that's the hard lesson a lot will learn with us that first year. They will come in and they will sit and they will not do much, and then they will say, what do you, and then they'll come in August and find out they're still a freshman or still a sophomore, and they'll be like, well, I was here all year. But no, you didn't do anything. So you actually have to get the work done for you to be able to earn the credits, which then makes you a sophomore or junior.
Do they have textbooks, or is it mainly online?
They can choose. We have both. A lot of the curriculum is online. It's all online. They can go in and do it online, but it's not a virtual school. And we have books, and a lot of the kids prefer to have the books. I want them to have the books. I want them highlighting and making notes, especially if it's a math class. So, but they do end up having to put their answers in the computer. Yeah, for any of you, it has been a huge challenge of mine because I came from Cornerstone Academy. In Cornerstone Academy in Spring Branch, we were all about project-driven and hands-on and debate and argue and create and do. And this is not. This is very much independent mastery. Read, glean the information, take the test. So that has been a struggle for me to work through. I could not learn in an environment like this at all. But for a lot of our students, it's exactly the structure they need, the kind of atmosphere they need, the support from the teachers that they need, and so that's why it works. Yes.
What percentage of your students do have a job within 6 months after graduation?
Repeat the question.
So what percentage of our students have a job after they graduate? That's where we have a challenge. We had 54 that graduated in May. I think we had just maybe a quarter of them that I could tell you have a job. Unfortunately, I went through McDonald's the other day, and it's really embarrassing when they're like, "Oh, Miss Wright, oh, here's your prize." So we've got a ways to go, but it is hard getting employers to be aware of us and what our kids are capable of doing.
How do you handle the state testing?
We cry a lot.
I came out of South Air.
Yes.
How do you handle the testing when it's star time?
We end up giving we'll do the practice tests. We'll break down the data. The teachers will pull them into small groups. We'll ask them to come in on Saturdays, and we'll teach to the test.
Do you have volunteers who come and help you at any point during the year?
We have had a few people have offered. Actually, getting that through to scheduling has always been a bit of a challenge. Our kids it's a fence that I sit on because I really want the volunteers, but I need those volunteers to be like uber committed because these kids can't afford to have somebody come in a couple times, sit with them, and then not come back. And our kids are not perfect by any far stretch of the means, and don't always show how grateful they are sometimes. You can't let them break you. They will go to the ends of the earth for you once they realize you're there for them and that they can trust you.
Are finances always an issue?
Yes, ma'am. Are finances always an issue? Well, we're a public school. Finances are an issue. We had a good friend of mine when I was at Cornerstone. One of my parents had posted a golf tournament for us, and it was a great fundraiser. She put it on. So when I got to Gallery Furniture, I asked her if she could do could you do another golf tournament for me? And she's like, oh no. No, because that's Mattress Mac's school. Mattress Mac can pay for it. And she said she would not be able to get anybody to come to a tournament because
Her problem with Mattress Mac was that
the perception is, yeah.
Do the students have to pay anything at all to go to the school or not?
Zero. Yes, they get do the students pay anything at all to go to the school? Nothing. So they can get all this dual credit. So like we had a couple of students taking the auto class. So I didn't have a picture of my famous female student, her first, who got her C1 from HCC for her auto, and she's actually working for a company, and she is focusing on Porsche. But she got 27 credit hours of auto classes, so 9 auto classes for free.
Wow.
Yeah.
back on finances, are gifts tax deductible?
Yes. If there's a gift, then it's for Premier High School, and I have a tax form that I can send out.
So if you just repeat that.
Just if gifts, if there was a gift, is it tax deductible? Yes, it is tax deductible, and I have 100% control over how that money is spent. And if you have a specific idea that what you would like to see, that's what we honor. But no, my bosses, nobody think I get this.
But have a scholarship program where people could sponsor a couple of kids or maybe one kid? Or is there something like that that's available to people who want to help?
It's really, instead of necessarily sponsoring a particular kid, it's the needs, like you're asking about finances. Where I spend that money is I'm buying diapers, I'm buying Uber rides, I'm buying car seats, I'm buying clothes. We have a school uniform, but we know that when those kids leave on weekends, they need jeans, the occasional meals that we purchase. I am looking for a washer dryer. I know you guys can't do it, but washer dryer company.
And just repeat his question again.
So he was asking if you could sponsor like a couple of students.
I would say this: if you don't have that kind of program, did you come up with what it costs for an individual student, say for a year? If somebody donates that amount of money and said this will cover one student, and doesn't go to a particular student, it goes to all students. But you isolate it down to one single student.
If you looked at how much it would cost for a student to go through the welding program, But see, since it's public dollars and it's federal dollars, so we never really put a number to it. Where I could see students needing sponsorship is like with the culinary arts. They need to. We have to come up with a way to get a $900 knife set, or their tool set for culinary arts is $900. So we try and partner with Workforce Solutions. If they have any kind of disability whatsoever, Workforce Solutions will help us out. So that kind of area, yes. Our welding, see, now it's starting to come to me. Okay. Our welding students need to have jackets and hoods, and those are personal items that we have to, I don't want my kids paying for a single thing. Unless I think that they should have some skin in the game. Thank you. Yeah.
Where do the teachers, where do you pull the teachers in from? I mean, I'm just kind of curious. Are they primarily people a little bit older, or they've been teaching for a while and want to do something different that maybe is more meaningful to them? Or tell me a little bit about your teachers.
My teachers get paid $12,000 less than they would if they were in HISD. And that's pretty hard because we are right in the heart of HISD. But they get paid, they stick around because truly their reward is when the kids walk the stage. And I mean, it's tears everywhere. But where I find teachers is a real challenge because for a couple of years, we had our human resources department who is in Dallas, who does not fully understand the dynamics here, was going on to Indeed and going, oh, here's a warm body. They don't have a job. Why don't you talk to them? And I don't want that. I was very, 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 very fortunate that a teacher of mine that worked with me, Carla Behringer, she retired this last year and sat out for about 2 weeks and went, I can't do that. And so she can't work full-time because of TRS retirement, but she does do part-time teaching with me. And I've loved that because it has also raised the quality of teaching. My other teacher was interviewing as a secretary at another campus, and that principal said, you'd make a great teacher. And so by the time she made it over to my campus, she came in and said, I want to be a teacher. But she actually is a really good teacher. So it just kind of, but I may be losing her. So if anybody knows a language arts, so English teacher.
So how many staff do you have?
I have 3 teachers and a CTE a CTE assistant, and the CTE is for the Career Technology Education Assistant.
How part-time is part-time?
20 hours a week.
You're on I-45 over there.
Between Tidwell and Parker.
Jill, I just wanted to say something about the process that you teach these kids. The fact that they study at their own pace, this is really an asset because this is the name of the game, lifelong learning. And we're all, this coming generation is going to have to go through many different career changes. It's not the 130-year deal. And this is fabulous that the whole process involves their guided, paced self-learning. That's fabulous.
It is amazing when they get that fire, when you see the fire getting lit. I'd say for a lot of them it takes a while for that fire. But once they get it, they can go from 0 credits 4 years to graduate. They can actually do it in 2 if that's what they decide they want. But then those are the kids, they go home and they do their work at home, and then they come back and our kids are with us for only 4 hours a day. It's really to be able to provide flexible scheduling so that, because a lot of them work And we have to work around the work hours because the employers don't tend to want to work around the school hours. So, but yeah, so they're only with us 4 hours a day. But if they want to get out early and they want to get done, then they learn, I got to take this home and I've got to take responsibility for myself.
So what are the hours that the school is open?
They can come 8:30 to 12:30, 10:30 to 2:30. If they're taking a trade, it's 8:30 to 2:30, or 12:30 to 4:30. I don't like the 12:30 to 4:30 shift because it's late. It's late. And yeah, they get to sleep in, but they're still ornery as all get out at 3 o'clock.
Some of these kids come as, well, but they didn't call them dropouts, they called them, they were homeschooled. When they come from homeschooling, do you give them credit for what they've done in high school, public high school? Do they get any credit for any high school they've completed?
It depends on the homeschooling situation, because there are some legitimate homeschool associations.
Right.
And we've gotten so that we recognize which ones. I love the report card that comes in and half the words are misspelled. Girl who wants credit and French. Those, I make them take a couple of the tests in the subject area before I'll give them the credit for it. I always think about Sharpstown High School making the news many, many, many years ago for just giving away high school diplomas. I do not ever want to be that person on the news.
ESL, is ESL a problem?
ESL, if not familiar, for English as a second language, and by the way, the term is now emerging bilingual.
That's EBL? EBL?
EB. Yep.
EB.
Yeah, they're EB. We have a significant amount of our population is considered to be EB, that they do not, and it is a challenge because all of our curriculum is in English. We do not, and I have one teacher that speaks Spanish, but we do not teach and we do not speak Spanish in the curriculum. So it is teaching them how to.
Well, this has been really enlightening. And every time you answer a question, you raise more questions about this.
Right.
We are so in awe of your commitment and how much you've helped these young people.
Thank you.
And you can see that there's a lot of interest in the community here. So
Yes,
hopefully
thank you.
we'll get some more of those tax deductions for you. And those welding helmets and boots and all.
Fantastic.
Yeah,
Fantastic.
thanks so much,
It's
Jill.
fun to see so many familiar faces from Spring Branch too, and I'm like, oh. So, thank you.
Thank you
so much for your time.
And Bill Leffler is in the back, and he will be speaking next month.
Did I answer the question? No, I hadn't. Yeah, you're right. Thank you. Yeah, it's